Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of What Else is New. It is March 7th, 2025, and I am Kelly Green. This is a show where we go through a bunch of open tabs, look at some current events and some news, maybe a little bit of culture and music in a fairly rapid pace. If you find something that you like here, feel free to check the show description down below. I've got all the links for all the stuff that I'm covering, so feel free to open up 20, 30 tabs of your own and explore this stuff at your leisure. Okay, so today, as I said, is March 7th. It's Stand Up for Science Day all across the United States, nationwide, and even I've noticed in other countries, like France, for example, there are actions and demos and rallies and protests happening to protect science. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Alberta health scandal, or rather, we're going to get this gentleman, Boots something or other, a Canadian dude. He's going to talk a little bit about the Alberta health scandal. From the New Socialist, we've got AI, the new aesthetics of fascism. We got the deep fake state, a little commentary by the Grayzone Live. Earth's tipping point, Arctic meltdown, signals a climate catastrophe. This is not new. This isn't new, as you will see from this next clip. From the year 2000, activists without passports, vintage climate activism, and talking about the state of the Arctic, or the future of the Arctic, as it were. From the Brunswick News, lawsuit claims Texas company knowingly built dangerous battery plant at California's Moss Landing. Okay, so that's still in the news somewhat. We've got forever chemicals found in home gardens. Back to YouTube, Chris Hedges gives a speech at the Worker Strike Back conference. I got a couple clips from that. Oh, and some lovely, lovely photographs to share. So that'll be fun. Nice little break, maybe about halfway through. I have a piece from Armets. Looks pretty technical, pretty sciencey. From January of this year, the sequestration of carbon dioxide is in decline. Climate change will accelerate. Well, isn't that lovely? Also, nothing new. Oh, but this is new. It's new to my channel. I don't think, talked about UFOs or UAPs or whatever we want to call them now, but I thought this was an interesting little clip from a Canadian morning show, The Social, on CTV. So we'll see what that has to say. Another clip from The Social, because of course you click one video from somebody and then YouTube wants to keep feeding it to you as per the algorithms. So this is talking about AI and the environment. Now we've got Andrew Weissman. He is a lawyer, I believe. He does legal commentary on his own channel here now, as well as on MSNBC. And he talks about how the wolf is at the door. We need not explain who that wolf is. We have a reaction. It'll be my reaction to a reaction, I guess. Came across this young gentleman, Ether. Young, I guess he looks around 30. He's doing a react to IMA's Carmageddon, so I picked a neat clip from that. And another reaction video of his. This is pretty interesting. This is a react video of him reacting to her, reacting to people reacting to her. So it's quite a long video. As you can see, it's an hour and 23 minutes. What I want to do is a reaction video. It'll be like a 4-layer reaction video. Anyway, stay tuned. I might do that at some point in the future. A couple clips from that to share. I've got a little piece from a documentary. Ooh, this is finally, we might get to see a little clip from Snarky Positivity. I've been hoping to share something from her for a little while. Lovely little channel, doing some good work over there. Little clip from Jon Stewart. This is going to relate somehow. We'll get it all together. Canada, the 51st state. Over our dead bodies, say Indigenous leaders. So we'll see what that has to say a little bit. I've got a wonderful little trailer from Sub Media regarding some revolution in Chile, I believe. And then leaving it off, we're going to play a little bit of In Our Blood by Matt Ward. I'll give you a sample here. Now, if you watch this channel, you'll notice that I've done a couple of episodes where I review and react where I'm reacting basically to Matt Ward's review of top 10 albums around a political bent, protesting, civil disobedience, current events, environmental issues. So check that out. It's on my channel here, and stay tuned to the end. We're going to play out this whole song by Matt Ward, In Our Blood. It's excellent. Okay, so here we go. Let's get right into it. I'll turn that up for later. And we'll get back to the beginning. Alberta health scandal keeps getting worse. So let's hear what he has to say.
The endless march of scandal in Alberta continues as the controversies around the Alberta UCP handling the Alberta Health Service deepen, and it just keeps getting worse. So for a very broad overview, the Alberta government has been restructuring its healthcare system. Why? I don't know. They say efficiency, but they keep firing everyone and have paid out more than $10 million in severance, so it doesn't seem like a particularly efficient efficiency program. But in the process, the Alberta government has taken a much larger role. And in that process, there have been many issues. The Turkish Tylenol scandal, the Skybox scandal, and a bunch more. Scandals aplenty. And this built until coming to a head this month when former AHS CEO Athana Mantzalopoulos filed a claim against the Alberta government, making a huge range of allegations around her dismissal and the issues around it. And since then, Danielle Smith and the UCP government have been on the back foot. She started out by hiding in the US for a while, trying to stay away from the media, but that didn't really work. Now she's trying the Sergeant Schultz approach. She knows nothing, she sees nothing. And this...
So I'm trying to find something interesting with this guy. It took me a couple times to watch this video because I was fascinated about the cat going up to the window. This looks like Edmonton. He's in his basement suite in a bungalow, if I would guess. So I love the backgrounds of stuff, and I love this one. And you can see some cars going by a little bit here and there. We might see the cat show up again. But this is a couple-minute clip from this gentleman. What's his name? Boots or something? I don't know. We'll let it play.
Endless denial and total refusal to take any accountability has led to an endless drip of scandals, which is honestly like nothing I've ever seen. Governments have been brought down for a lot less. Danielle Smith just stands in front of the public again and again, insisting that not only did she never know anything about anything, but also that she never asked any questions and was just completely hands-off at all times. It has been a mess. Now, one more bit of context here. You see, when the government fired the CEO as well as the entire board, they replaced them with the deputy minister, who also kept that original job. His name's Andre Tremblay. So the independent board and CEO were fired by the government and replaced by a government staffer. Seems super legit. But because literally everything the Danielle Smith government touches turns to scandal, this was even more questionable than it appears at first glance. So I'm just going to read this opening line from Jason Markusoff from the CBC's article about this, because it is an all-timer. Quote, "The administrator and interim CEO of Alberta Health Services changed his official rules to declare that only the deputy health minister could be named CEO of the health agency. A change made while he was serving as deputy health minister. So while he was CEO, he changed the rules so only he could be CEO, since he was also the deputy minister. But then the public caught on to how incredibly inappropriate this would be during an investigation or really at any other time, and so he was replaced as deputy minister but stayed on as AHS interim CEO. But the rules said that only the deputy minister could be CEO. So they immediately had to change the bylaws again. And you may be wondering, but Steve, how can they keep changing the bylaws whenever it suits their goals? Well, quote, on February 12th, a few weeks into his tenure with all three jobs, Tremblay passed a formal administrator's resolution which allowed him to unilaterally change AHS general bylaw.
Holy cow, corrupt much? So this is the state of Alberta politics currently. And since picking out this clip, there is a news story, and I don't have it featured here, and I just saw a headline that the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, are now making an investigation regarding some of these scandals. So, there we go. Let's move along to AI, the new Aesthetics of Fascism. When I first saw this article, it just kind of made my heart sink. It's like, oh my gosh, like one more bad news thing about AI. It's a pretty good essay. I'm not going to read much about it, but I did pick out one little paragraph to highlight. No amount of normalization and validation, however, can alter the fact that AI imagery looks like shit. But that, I want to argue, is its main draw to the right. If AI was capable of producing art that was formally competent, surprising, soulful, then they wouldn't want it. They would be repelled by it. Nobody likes the fascists, right? Check out that article. I got a link down there. On AI and fascism, here's a little clip, a conversation between Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal on the Grayzone Live. So let's give that a quick little peek.
Should we move on to Trump's video, his AI video about Gaza?
More commentary on the decadent, satanic state of our leadership. Donald Trump has released or promoted an AI video which seems to, it sort of fantasizes or dramatizes the day after in Gaza, when Gaza is finally transformed into a golden Dubai-like Riviera in which will be showered by the wealth of Elon Musk, and Donald Trump will dance with harlots, and trans belly dancers will perform on the ashes of a site of a Holocaust. And with no further ado, here's the video.
All right, well, I'm totally not going to be playing that video. You've probably seen it, and if not, I don't recommend it. It's just garbage, but it reinforces the point from the previous essay that we touched on, which was AI, the new aesthetics of fascism. So proving that point. Okay, now let's get back into something new and something old regarding the climate. Earth's tipping point, Arctic meltdown signals a climate catastrophe. Let's see if I picked anything out specifically about that. It's a little bit light, but it's essentially saying that at 2.7 degrees Celsius of global warming, we will see more extreme and cascading impacts in this region, the Arctic, than elsewhere, including sea ice-free Arctic summers, accelerated melting of the Greenland ice sheet, widespread permafrost loss, and more extreme air temperatures. These changes will devastate infrastructure, ecosystems, vulnerable communities, and wildlife. Now, this is from February 11th, 2025. So this is new. This is 4 weeks old. The clip I'm going to show you now is almost 25 years old. It's not by a scientist or a science paper. It's by an activist journalist who knows how to read and was present at the climate conference in The Hague, November of 2000. I was with him. This is my old friend Tucker Gomberg, may he rest in peace, and explaining a little bit about the Arctic.
And think about it. I mean, the future of the Arctic, of Canada's Arctic, is literally in his hands. The Arctic is already disappearing. The polar bears are in trouble. Species are in places where they never were before. The Inuit are talking about thunderstorms. They don't have thunderstorms in the north. This is unknown in the oral history of the Inuit, to have thunderstorms in the north. They now have robins. They don't have a word for robin. The changes are already happening.
So yeah, the changes were already underway. We knew that this was going on. When we were at the climate conference in the year 2000, it didn't take us long to figure out that the talks were going nowhere. It wasn't going to help. The delegates were trying to work on ratifying the Kyoto Protocol, which was a measly 7% reductions of CO2 levels from 1990 levels. That was wholly inadequate. The science was telling us we needed to go deep, 60 to 80% reductions. However, looking back in retrospect, that 7% reduction 25 years ago would have been, I think, a step in the right direction. We didn't pass that. Our emissions are blown way out of proportion. This was a passport burning action. So that was Tucker's passport aflame on the table. We've got the world's media assembled around us. And you're about to see a reaction moment from an onlooker. It's quite moving.
So, you know, we can all be fooled. We can all be fooled by the comings and goings up and down the hallway, by the piles of paper that are floating around, by the little theatrical presentations and nice photo ops. But as you all know, there's something very, very profoundly serious going down here, and my country is the worst. Canada is the worst. And I'm pointing the finger directly at Lloyd Axworthy. So, please, go talk to him. Ask him what he's doing to protect the Arctic, to protect the polar bears, to protect the Inuit culture, to protect the integrity of the atmosphere and of the planet.
Have to move their homes away from the shore because the ocean levels are rising. The permafrost, the ground is literally falling right off the hills. Everything is completely falling apart. I don't know why anybody isn't asking these questions in all these sessions. What are we doing to protect the climate? Why aren't we talking about 60 to 80% reductions in CO2 emissions, which is what the scientists around the world agree needs to be happening as a minimum? Why aren't we asking these questions? Why are we getting caught down in all these loopholes and sinks and things between EU and the US and the G77? Those aren't the important things. The important things is that we immediately reduce our greenhouse gas emissions 60 to 80%. The future of our planet is at stake. All of our lives are at stake here. Everyone around the world is dependent on the environment to survive. And that's all I have to say.
Well, you know, good luck.
Wow. So that was that was my don't look up moment at the 6th Council of Parties meeting for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in The Hague of November in 2000. I had just burnt my passport as well and got a little bit emotional in my speech to the media. Wow. Got caught up in that. Anyways, climate change is, obviously, we've known this stuff's been coming for a long time. It breaks my heart to keep reading of the new reports that keep reinforcing, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. On the environment, a powder keg lawsuit claims Texas company knowingly built dangerous battery plant at California's Moss Landing, leading to a major fire. I encourage you to look at this. I did not pick out a clip when I set this up, but it's very important. Essentially, it's an environmental tragedy that didn't have to happen, said Joe Cotchett, a Burlingame attorney who filed the lawsuit. Had Vista done a proper job in storing these batteries properly, this would have never happened. Had they set up a system for stopping any fire that could happen, this would have never happened, he added. There's a combination of errors here. So some lawsuits ongoing regarding that disaster in California. New study reveals concerning source of forever chemicals found in home gardens. Points to an urgent need. Now, of course, I see articles like this and I'm like, oh, I've got to see that. Maybe that's something new there. And it certainly connects with this story because that California Moss Landing toxic battery plant fire is right close to the major farming areas and produce growing areas down in Southern California. So we've all been eating contaminated lettuce and other produce, most likely these last couple of weeks out of California. So points to an urgent need. As I scroll down, I'm thinking, is it the treated lumber maybe they built these boxes with? No. The study was conducted in North Carolina near a plant owned by Chemours, and it concluded that PFAS had affected gardens via air pollution. In other words, it was emitted from the plant and settled down to the ground across the surrounding area. So, concerning source, obviously, they should have known this plant was there. It's nothing new. It's not reveals the concerning source. I'm sure it was a concern to people that have been exposed to those chemicals from that factory since it's been in operation. So you can go on and read this article, steps that are being taken, the dangers of PFAS, et cetera, et cetera. It's an ongoing concern. And in fact, the PFAS article, this is going to connect to Matt Ward's song at the end of the video here, In Our Blood. The PFAS, it's in our water, in our blood. Okay, we've got Chris Hedges. This is his full speech at the Workers' Strike Back conference. I have 2 clips from it.
Us all. They are deaf, dumb, and blind to hope. Those addicted to power, consumed by self-exaltation, cannot decipher the words of hope any more than most of us can decipher hieroglyphics. Hope to Wall Street bankers and politicians, to the masters of war and commerce, is not practical, it is gibberish, it means nothing. I cannot promise you it will be easy. I cannot assure you that tens of thousands will join us. I cannot pretend that going to jail is pleasant. I cannot say that anyone in Congress, anyone in the boardrooms of the corporations that cannibalize our nation, anyone in the press will be moved to pity, to act for the common good. I cannot tell you these wars will end or the hungry will be fed. I cannot say that justice will roll down like a mighty wave and restore our nation to sanity. But I can say this: if we resist and carry out acts, no matter how small, of open defiance, hope will not be extinguished.
Hope will not be extinguished. So Chris Hedges, he's speaking obviously of our current times and the needs to do something, do anything, get active, make your voice heard. We've seen at the top of the show that one of the things that are happening today is the Stand Up for Science. There's been a number of different actions happening almost daily, whether it's against Tesla. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. And here is his second piece right near the end.
This is a battle, quite literally, between freedom and slavery, between life and death. It is that grave. And it is a battle that no matter the odds, we must fight. But in the end, I do not fight fascists because I will win. I fight fascists because they are fascists. Thank you.
Wow, hey? I guess there's some words of encouragement and inspiration, hopefully, for fighting the fascists amongst us. Okay, I promised I would show you a little bit of nice photographs. Here are, from Nature magazine, some very excellent pictures. Let's see if I can just scroll. Oops. Nope. Some very excellent pictures. Should have let some music play for this. This is probably something you're going to want to peruse on your own. I like the layout and how they've done the page and how it scrolls really nicely. Uniform tablets. Anyways, check that out. If you like photography, you'll definitely like this little article in Nature magazine. Beautiful photographs. Okay, back to climate change. Natural sequestration of carbon dioxide is in decline. Climate change will accelerate. So essentially, the planet's ability to absorb carbon is becoming less and less and less. So we need to cut the amount of carbon we're putting into the atmosphere even faster. That's how I read that. Also, yeah, things are going to accelerate because of that. Dig into it if you're kind of science-minded on the wheres and the what fors and what we could possibly expect. There's the links, real sciencey article and whatnot. Okay, where are we now? Ooh, UFOs. Let's see what this is.
All over the place, and it's multiple phenomena.
We're just going to move your hair.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So to be clear, is this report aimed at proving or disproving the existence of extraterrestrial life, or not? Like, it has nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with extraterrestrial life. This is about UFOs, unidentified flying objects. So it could mean many things. There's 1%.
Couldn't that mean extraterrestrial?
Well, it could, but it also could be interdimensional. Like, there's so many different theories, right? You're like, what is that?
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's so many. There's ultra-terrestrial. Like, we have all of these theories. But the idea is looking at this from a science perspective, so we know what's flying in our skies.
And a national defense perspective as well.
So talking about Canada's efforts to find out and make some kind of official department dealing with UAPs, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought that was interesting and a little bit shocking. She picked up one of the other panelists was quite shocked to hear about that they're talking about interdimensional beings. That's pretty cool. Okay, from the same program, AI and the environment. See what we got.
So are we seeing AI being used to actually combat climate change in any way? Because like I know people are using to get ideas, fresh new ideas. Is that at all happening?
Well, so Climate change is like this, they call it a wicked problem because it has so many tiny little problems to be solved. And so AI can help some of those problems. So for example, designing new molecules for batteries, because lithium ion batteries, we know that they lose their charge, they actually take a lot of resources to be made. And so AI has been used for generating completely new novel molecules for those batteries that can be synthesized and tested. So there are small problems that can be solved with AI, but a lot of climate change are people problems, are behaviors that we have to change and social structures that we have to change, and AI is not going to help solve that.
All right, so what do you say to the...
So behaviors, it's kind of putting it on us a little bit, and structures, I think what she's trying to get at is the capitalism as a big problem, but she's not really spelling that out. But the one thing that really tweaked my interest was right off the top when she talked about it being a wicked problem. So let's just hear that again.
Climate change is like this, they call it a wicked problem because it has so many tiny little problems to be solved. And so
a wicked problem with so many problems to be solved. All right, we'll move on to the next clip. The wolf is at the door. Come across this gentleman in my feed. I checked out his profile. He seems so MSNBC legal analyst, NYU law school professor, New York Times best-selling author. He seems relatively credible.
And the top 3 military judges who were all fired. These are apolitical people. As I have said, can you think of a benign reason why you would fire the 3 top judge advocates in the military? Can you think of a benign reason? I can't. I can only think of a reason why you would want loyalists who are going to not stand in the way. And it's impossible not to put what is happening in the context of 20th century history and thinking about Hungary, thinking about Germany, thinking about lots of countries that where the rule of law and forms of democracy have fallen. And that is, I'm afraid to say, the world that we are in. Not entering, but are in.
So it's interesting that he says we're not entering this right now. This is the world that we were in. But I guess maybe the metaphor is better to say the wolf is at the door rather than the wolf has come through the door. Maybe it just gives a little bit of hope or something. Or I think it's a human condition that we just can't grasp the full gravity of the truth. We have to project some of that into the future. So my comment on this video is that it's certainly fair to say, given what is happening, that the wolf is now inside the door. It has crossed the threshold. So check that out if you like lawyerly stuff of a left-wing-ish bent, specifically with regards to current events down in the United States. He is a good source for that. Okay, this is political, it's musical, it's React. I like this guy. He doesn't... Yeah, I'm just going to play it and then we'll maybe make a comment on it.
While we're fed all these distractions, kids are killed from Israel's actions. I'ma speak my mind.
Please.
I thought his reaction to that was quite interesting, and he's very, very curious to have her speak her mind.
Sick to death of all these crazy lies. A circus for humanity's decline. We just want a peaceful life. Give the people back their rights. And I still gotta be.
The fact that this is still on the internet in bro, we have a freedom at least again, or it seems like we have a freedom now. Because if this came out, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this would be a flag for misinformation.
And most certainly would be, or maybe it wouldn't exist. So we've got a little interesting bit. We had Gaza mentioned, we had the genocide mentioned, we had Israel killing babies mentioned, and this next piece also would have been verboten on the internet over these last few years, but now at least pop artists like IMA can sing about it, and people can react and make commentary.
Completely. It would have been gone in a day.
Cause Fauci's laughing and we're been.
Oh, that one hit hard, eh?
Fuck that guy, bro. Let's run that back.
A circus for humanity's decline. We just want a peaceful life. Give the people back their rights. And I still got a beef. Cause Fauci's laughing and we've been asleep. And who's a liar and it's running deep. Big pharma finna eat. They a devil make 'em weak. Man-made virus. Watch some millions die.
Wow. I get chills every time she says that line. Jesus.
That's funny. That gave me a chill too, watching him react to her and hearing that line again. Wow. And the interesting, you maybe heard this story, but IMA, she was canceled by her producer or her manager, wanting her to change the lyrics of this song. And she said, you know what, I'm not going to do that, so I guess we'll part ways. She's now a completely independent artist. This is blowing up. Like, this got millions of views, and good for her for doing that. It's absolutely excellent. Now, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, so I like this Ether guy. He's probably got a real name that I should remember. But he seems interesting. He seems fresh. He's obviously, you know, looking at things from a slightly different angle. So we've got some things that might be uncomfortable for some of my lefty friends to talk about. But it also lines up perfectly with what a lot of progressives and a lot of peace activists are talking about. So it's kind of interesting. He's somewhere in the middle. He doesn't really come at things. He's not really that into politics, but he's alluded that, you know, he reads. He likes to try and stay informed. He's trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Most of his channel, though, however, is not about politics or doing reactions to music videos about politics. I think a lot of it is kind of gaming and stuff. But at any rate, here's a reaction video of him reacting to her, reacting to people reacting to her.
But you know who doesn't need healthcare anymore? Jimmy Carter. Because he's dead. He died at the ripe age of 100, and I know what you're thinking. Vaxxed? But at his funeral, we all saw this.
Oh, there's so much that the fucking news cycle, bro. There's so much I forget about, man. This was so interesting. I don't even know if I covered this on my channel because I've been kind of like, oh, I don't want to cover, like, there's been so much political content, man. It's just, I could farm it for so much, but I just don't want to become like a political guy. I'm not that guy, you know? It's the ether. Anything that I find interesting, I want to talk about. But there's just too much political shit. But I wish I was a fly on the wall. Did they ever have like someone read lips and find out what they're talking about? Because they're not covering their faces.
He's Hitler, he's Hitler, he's Hitler, he's Hitler. Oh, hey, buddy. I'm sorry, I seem to recall this man scolding the black community for voting for a racist, sexist fascist. And here he is, chatting it up with that very racist, sexist fascist. Gee, it's almost like they don't fucking believe it. Like, the Biden administration literally just named an aircraft after George W. Bush. Here
we go.
You can't make this shit up. It's crazy, bro. The fucking Democratic Party was fucking like, oh, we got George Bush on our side. Oh, we love George Bush now. It's like, wow, bro. Wow. The switch up is crazy. I swear, American politics is fucking like WWE.
Okay. I'm going to back it up just a tiny.
This is fucking like WWE. It is insane. And I feel like Trump knows that. And
American politics is like WWE. It's insane. Now, he's just talking off the cuff here. This is, in my mind, and you'll see later in someone else's mind who's a lot better at this than I am, been at it a lot longer, a lot smarter. That's an excellent take. It is like WWE. And I was going to definitely play this clip for you. And then when I seen the follow-up clip that's coming later on, it totally cemented it that, yeah, we definitely have to show this clip. How it almost seems rigged. Like it seems like a stage play. I mean, you see the two leaders that were beforehand kind of enemies against each other, and they're laughing it up at the funeral of another former president. It just seems odd. It makes people feel uncomfortable. This woman, what is her name? Shoe on the Head? Yeah, Shoe on Head. She's pretty good. I'm glad I found her. She seems to be riding down the center, offending people on both sides of the aisle, if you were. All right, moving along to this. This is kind of a personal thing that I just wanted to show. This is a film called Atomic Reaction. You can get it at gem.cbc.ca. And essentially what it is demonstrating is Canada's involvement in the Manhattan Project, which of course built the first atomic weapons, one tested in New Mexico, and 2 others dropped in Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, effectively ending the Second World War in Asia. Anyways, I thought this was interesting because I used to live in this house.
And I think what drew me up here is understanding this story about my great-grandfather, Gilbert Labine, and
so his grandfather discovered the first uranium, which became the first uranium mine in Canada, way up in Canada's north. This gentleman, he's sitting on a houseboat that I used to live on way back. This is also 27 years ago now. So farther up north from Yellowknife was where the first uranium mine was. I'd met a lot of the family and people from that area. It talks about in this video how every man up there that helped in that operation ended up getting cancer. They would literally carry burlap sacks of raw uranium ore. They'd have to transport it because the landscape, they had to take it off of a barge and walk it across land and put it on another barge to get it down the river to Mackenzie River, and then down to Fort Smith, and then down by road to Edmonton, where I am now, and then by rail or truck all the way to Port Hope, I believe is what it is, in Ontario, where they process the uranium and they got the plutonium materials from that, the refined uranium, I believe is how that worked, or maybe just the raw uranium. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, watch the thing. Anyways, the raw materials comes from Canada's north,
that I remember.
goes to Ontario, gets refined, shipped to the United States for a secret program to develop atomic weapons, which were then used on Japan and essentially held over the entire planet for 80 years now. Okay, enough of that. I thought it was kind of interesting. Check it out if you're interested in the history of nuclear weapons or Canada, or if you just want to look again at that cool houseboat that I once lived on. Check it out. Okay, this is, boy, I don't know her name. I'm not great at getting names. I should get better at that. I'd commented on another of her videos how much I liked it, and I was going to feature it in my video. Now, if you're very astute and you got a good memory, you might remember me saying this was going to show up in the video, but as we got down through the tabs, I decided, you know what, it's not that good. I'm going to take it out. It ended up being, I was basically critiquing what she was trying to do. I didn't think that was very nice. Like, my goodness, she's pretty low subscriber count, lower than I am. She's at 46, and her shows, like this one's got 18 views, so it didn't really seem like a nice thing to do, even if I was finding fault or wanted to pick on a couple of details. So I messaged her back in the YouTube comments and said, you know what, I'm going to just hold off. Sorry, I didn't include you in that video that I said I was going to, and I'm going to look for something else. So I hope she likes it, and I hope you like this.
Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
Provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare at hand, secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
So normally, you know, the super patriotism stuff, it's kind of cringy. I thought it was kind of fun. She's tackling some serious issues, trying to educate on the Constitution. She does like a multi-part series on fascism and describing what that is. And although we didn't get any specific meaty content here, I thought it was kind of fun just to watch her trying to have a little bit of fun before she gets into the Constitution a little heavier. So check that out. Please support her channel, Snarky Positivity. I will leave a link. I'm not subscribed yet. Well, I am subscribed. And I did give it a like. Okay, moving right along. Okay, this is very interesting bit. Before I click play on this, It's probably going to copyright me. We'll see. Let's just go for it.
What happened, they say? Are we still America, they say? Whose side are we on, they say? It's complicated. The best way that I can explain what happened and show Americans how to process this new reality was with another shocking turn of events from this weekend.
On Saturday night at the Elimination Chamber, the WWE shocked the world as John Cena turned heel, joined The Rock, and attacked Cody Rhodes.
Now, if that does not immediately explain to you our current geopolitical climate, you must have grown out of watching wrestling through the normal course of aging.
So I thought that was interesting. You remember earlier on in the show that young gentleman comparing American politics to something straight out of WWE. And here we have a day or two later, Jon Stewart, a senior political commentator and comedian on TV for decades now, also making that same comparison a little more eloquently, a little better research. Obviously, he has a great staff. So I encourage you to check out that comment. I'm not sure if it's going to make it into the clip. It's from The Daily Show. Wow, they got a lot of subscribers. From March 3rd, Jon Stewart on Trump's heel turn on Zelensky. Okay, so this is from Ricochet Media recently regarding the threats by this guy to make Canada the 51st state. This is a piece by award-winning Canadian journalist Brandy Morin. You should check out her work and check out this story. Essentially, First Nations leaders are saying, you know what, over my dead body, that this is going to happen. The Indigenous voice is nowhere in this discussion about territorial integrity, says Dr. Littlechild. What about our territorial integrity? What about our concerns about border issues? Someone needs to say something in this ongoing debate about the way forward in North America. So good for them standing up for that, trying to get their voice into the mix and asserting their Indigenous sovereignty. Dig into that story and keep your eyes peeled on how that is going to conclude. Oh boy, that's actually going not too bad. We're pretty good. 46 minutes, pretty good. My friend Matthew, if you're still watching at this point in time, my apologies. I know the longer videos are a little bit discouraging for you to tuck into. This is heavy. Check this out.
Los saqueos se mantuvieron por lo menos 2 meses y los ataques a las comisarías también, era como 150 comisarías en la noche alrededor del país con todo tipo de cosas, ¿cachai? Desde fuegos artificiales hasta armamento más pesado. Pues están cagados de susto los buenos.
Estamos en guerra contra un enemigo poderoso, implacable, que no respeta a nada ni a nadie.
Centro de poder destruido, como en un acabo de mundo total. Le dije, bello.
Que no es guitarra de rico, ni cosa que se parezca. Mi canto es de los andarios para alcanzar las estrellas.
Al final, la paz que nos venden es la paz de los ricos, en donde la única violencia condenable es la que surge desde abajo.
No puede ser, están los milicos en la esquina de nuestra casa y están apuntando a nuestro hijo.
Las nuevas izquierdas que renuevan un poco el maquillaje del poder. La palabra cooptación no le hace total justicia. Acreditar que ese cambio podía venir desde la reforma del Estado fue terrible.
So, check that out from Submedia. They do some really heavy-duty stuff. I'm quite certain that there are a few of you people that are watching this that were aware of what was going on down there a few years ago and even currently. There's probably very, very few, if any, that have seen this kind of footage, unless you're already subscribed to Submedia or you're digging really deep down the rabbit holes of information. Check it out. Check it out. It's a great extra little perspective on life. Now, I want to thank you for watching the show today. I'm going to start In Our Blood by Matt Ward. If you have not yet, please hit the like button, do a subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends, do the sharesies, etc., etc. Please leave a comment if there's something that you feel you need to tell me about, or make a comment towards the community of people watching. And please, if you have any tips on stories to cover or things that are happening, send me a link, look me up, find my email, do what you got to do. Okay, thanks, you guys. I'm going to turn this up now. We'll leave the rest of the show to Matt Ward.
And in what we drink,
Sorry, just a quick little pause. He mentioned the PFAS and the firefighting foam. Look for an upcoming episode where I talk about the Canadian government just recently, yesterday, I think, announcing PFAS, what do you call them, restrictions or PFAS rules, regulations that will see the PFAS removed from firefighting foam in Canada as one of the first PFAS actions here. Okay, back to Matt.
PFAS in our blood, in every vein, and now we've got cancer in every hood, from the poison rain, and now your firm's paying a hefty price, but it won't suffice, cause what you paid out won't save the lives of those who've died.
Brilliant. Matt Ward, please do check him out. There is his channel. I better ring the bell. Oh, I am ringed on all. Oh, no. There we go. All. Ringing the bell for Matt Ward at 432 subs, 85 videos, tons of fresh, new, and original music by himself. Check that out. Thanks for checking this out. That's it for today, March 7th, 2025. Peace.